Okay, this is Ari from TechShare. I'm going to create a very quick video today. So what happens, very often I got messages from different people, or when I work for other teams, and a lot of other developers also ask me the same questions, like how to create how to basically configure the page builder successfully or correctly. So very often we see page builder doesn't work, and then we really stumble, like we don't have clue like why it is not working and things like that. So today I'm going to share the page builder and how successfully you could basically configure the page builder in a way that it would work, and you will have the confidence for that one. So see here, this is a sample application. This is a sample project, Sitecore project, XM Cloud project, and you can see here this project basically is hosted here in Vercel. The application is hosted here in the Vercel. So if I go and open this project in Vercel, then you can see here the site is running very fine here, and you have the home page and about page. So now this project, the interesting thing is you have to understand how I configure this project. Then you can basically connect this project into your page builder. Couple of things here very important is basically when you are working on page builder, then it is the authoring context, right? Because you don't use the live data, it always use the preview data, so that you can basically edit, update data, isn't it? So here you can basically add some data, and the idea here is this data will be pushed, and if you refresh this application, ideally you should see that data comes here. So that is very, very important. So if I go and try to clean the cache and reload, then you see this data is appearing here. So this proves that this application was basically configured using the preview context ID. So if I go to the environment variables, then you understand, because that is very important thing. So if you see here in the settings environment variables, you have the JSS editing secret, which is very important. You have to configure this JSS editing secret correctly. How you get this one? Well, I mean, you can go to the show config and you can grab the editing secret if it is already configured. If not, then just provide a editing secret on the Sitecore side, pass any configuration, publish that application in Sitecore XM Cloud, and then obviously you will have your JSS editing secret, and that secret can be used here. Public URL is not an important thing, but this Sitecore context ID is very important. Here you have to use, this is very important. If you mistakenly use the other context ID, that won't work. You have to use the preview context ID here. So my context ID, I use preview. Ideally I used all environment because this is a single environment application really, but ideally you will have your authoring, production, and other UAT or SIT, whatever the environment is. You can have a lot of environment that you created under this environment tab here, and here you will have all the environment you create, and then each of the environment will have their specific environment variables. So ideally the production environment or environment variable for production would definitely be the live context ID, but for our example I don't have the license. So you have the if you want to create, then you have to have a pro license. I don't have that one, so I used only one environment, which is this production, and this environment has the environment variable. I use the preview, but ideally for production it should be the live context ID, and authoring environment should have point to the preview context ID. I hope you understand. This is very simple thing. So long story short, once your application is running, so if you have two different environment, then you will have your production application URL, you will have your authoring application URL, and authoring application URL will have its own context ID, which is basically the preview one, and production would be the live one. So that authoring URL that we will have, so right now I have only one, so I am using this one, but for your case it may be the authoring URL that you need to use. But once you have the URL, you just need to use that URL and create the next thing, which is this rendering host. So this rendering host item needs to be very, very importantly created, because it needs to be correctly created. So here you can see here, this URL, it needs to be your authoring Vercel or rendering URL. And then obviously you know that API editing render, this is basically the common part you have to use there. And then the server side rendering engine application URL is the normal application URL. And then obviously the other one which is the same API editing config, which is this engine configuration URL. And you also have to put the name, application name, which is basically your site name. So once you have the rendering host created, then what you need to do is basically you go your site settings, and through the rendering drop down you will need to select the correct rendering. For our case it is this my one that I created. So if you connect this one, then if you go and open the page builder, then you would see your page builder works without any issue, and then you can use page builder, you know, as you go. So this is the way really you have to configure. Now you also know, I guess I also have other videos where you can go and you can basically go and check those other videos where I showed how to use this local, I mean you can use the local host, you can use your local host URL here, and also the, you know, in that way as well this page builder should work. So yeah, it makes our life super easy. So if you wanna run the application that is in progress, it is not yet deployed to Vercel, you could still use the page builder. You don't need to do anything, any configuration is not required. It just need to be localhost URL, and that's it. That should work as well. So I guess you would get some idea how to use this authoring or page builder, how to configure the page builder in the XM Cloud correctly. But feel free to give me any message or anything in the video. If you have any other questions, I would be happy to help you guys. Cheers. That's all for today. Have a good day.